right, mate. How are you?
They're not bad, they're not bad.
Good.
I can't wait to see this.
well, thank you very much for joining. You know,
my pleasure.
Basically, what's happened to me, like, I normally at shows and events, I'm Goodwood and Silverstone and British Touring Car and painting with these paintbrushes at shows and events. That's normally what I do. However, for the last 4 weeks, I've been here in the spare room of the house, creating drawings called continuous car drawings. So I put the pen down, and then I don't lift the pen until the outline of that car is created.
Wow.
So I do the outline, and then I rework it, and then with all the colours that you see, this rainbow of colours around here, I then create the drawing in around about half an hour, 45 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to start.
And I'm going to watch as well because I'm so jealous of your drawing talent.
Wow.
So I guess first of all, we first met with Mini in Bruges.
Yes.
When we drove those clubmans to Bruges.
Yes.
But my YouTube journey started about 4.5 years ago. I used to watch YouTube like most of us, and one day just thought I'm going to give that a go. Bought a camera, and I had my Roadster at the time. And my first ever YouTube video was of my Roadster. And then I live quite close to Goodwood, so there was quite a lot of content always on the doorstep, and just did it as a hobby, really, for probably about 1.5 years, and then it kind of got to the point where I started to get invited to go to things, and I needed to kind of balance my time I was spending, because I had a full-time job and trying to do YouTube. So I changed the way I did my job. I went freelance. I'm a trainer in telecoms by day job, and then started doing YouTube more, because as soon as I was freelance, I had the option to kind of move things around to make time for YouTube. So and then the last 2 years, it's been quite full on, really.
So you could do, so you're able to do like the launches and stuff rather than, because obviously, launches.
There's nothing more gut wrenching than being invited to some funky car launch in an amazing part of the world and not being able to go because you've got work on.
Yeah.
And then you see all the people who went, and you see their videos drop, and it's a horrible feeling. So yeah. So now, so you start to get to be invited to car launches and get press cars and things, and then it's I guess it must be a bit the same for you. You as you get bigger on social media, you grow bigger, and it kind of snowballs in a way. And Mini's been a really important part of that journey for me, because my Roadster's always been there as my car. Although I get press cars and things, I'd never had a Mini before I got my Roadster, and the reason I got one, I had a friend of mine who they turned up for a dinner at our house, and he just bought a red Roadster JCW, and it parked outside the house, and I just thought that's the coolest car ever. I just thought it was really different and funky, and then I went and test drove one, and that was it, really. I ended up buying one.
Because the Roadsters, are they still in production, or are they finished the production?
They did a Roadster and a coupe, so it's fundamentally the hatch underneath, but it's got a more sloping front windscreen and then no rear seats. So in the coupe, you get no rear seats, but a bit of a bigger boot, and then obviously the Roadster's got a fold-away canvas roof. Yeah. And I quite like that, because when the Mini convertible is a hatch with the roof chopped off, and it's got back seats, so when you fold the roof down, I hope there's no mini convertible people watching this, but it looks a bit like a Silver Cross pram when the roof's down. It doesn't fold away properly, so whereas the Roadster does, it's got a nice tonneau, and it kind of packs itself away really neatly, and it's got a huge boot as well, so you get loads of stuff in it. And but I think they only made them for about 2 or 3 years, and then I think they were a little bit too expensive, and I'm not sure people quite got them, so they didn't sell as many as they wanted, so they stopped production.
Yeah, because it's quite a unique it's quite a unique looking car, and plus it, I guess in the lineup, when you start kind of sometimes when you start duplicating things, or the niche becomes a niche, I guess it's gonna be about how many numbers are you going to actually sell. But
yeah, I mean,
like
what's
say,
great about it is even now people come up and go, "What's that? Is that a Mini?" Because you don't see very often. I mean, the JCW variant, I think they only registered 300 in the UK.
oh right, so
I mean, we talk about GP. So that was GP2 was 2,000 units globally. GP3 is 3,000 units globally. But you know, arguably, a Mini Roadster JCW is kind of almost a rarer breed than a GP2.
Yeah, because of the numbers that were actually available. So I presume that there's like is there like a register for them? Is there somebody who keeps an eye on on?
There must be somewhere. I mean, I've just from forums I'm on and stuff. You can kind of do checks with the DVLA and stuff, and that's where I got those numbers from. But so yeah, they're and then I had the car for probably 2 or 3 years and did nothing to it at all. It was just stock, and then last year, you know, you kind of, as a YouTuber, always trying to look for content to do on the channel, and I started to talk to Lowen about doing some simple modifications, and we ended up going full out on it and doing quite a lot. So,
what's his name who works for Lowen? I know I keep on forgetting his name because I've known him for many years because he's been on the kind of autosport scene, as it were, and because they kind of cross over with the Mini. Oh yeah, that's right. That's the outline to start off with. So
mate, how did you do that so fast? That is amazing.
So there's the outline. Now I'm going to make it look like that. So
that's incredible.
So
I just so love to be able to draw.
And to get I've only been doing this for 4 weeks. So like so that there's one that's how they first started. Kind of I went travelling in January, so I started to do continuous line drawing. So we did lots of things, travelling and whatever. So it's got better.
Mate, honestly, I'm still. I mean, because when for the guys watching, we met in Brussels on a Mini Clubman launch, and you gave me one of your illustrations that you'd done with the little radio controlled cars, and I still look at that and think, how on earth did you do that? It's just incredible. I
mean, basically what happened is, when lockdown was announced, essentially, when Boris was like, right, only essential travel. The studio where I'm based, the studio is in a creative village, so there are 40 other businesses on site, and increasingly, and it got to a point where it was like, right, it's just not, it's not right to do that travel to go to the studio. Plus, there are communal areas which are a bit of a grey area, so like the toilets and wash basins and whatever. So I was like, right, okay, I'll bring it all home. Set up a kind of a non-messy area upstairs, like non-painty area upstairs, and the garage we've turned into a kind of a painty area. And so we started to just play around with what could actually be done and where. And I started doing the drawings on the Friday. So and that lockdown was Tuesday. On the Friday, I started to do the drawings, time-lapsed it, put it on socials, and people were like, "Oh yeah, can you draw my car? I want you to draw my car." And I very quickly started to have an order book almost of cars to do, and so now we're at 219.
Wow!
So
it's funny. Do you know this lockdown thing? So I mean, as a car YouTuber, lockdown is like your worst nightmare ever because you're not allowed to drive anywhere.
Yeah.
And I just for the probably 6 to 8 weeks before lockdown, just started to see a real growth in the channel, and views and subscriber growth was just really good for me. And I could see lockdown coming. I thought, this is a nightmare because I'm just going to not be able to create any content. So rather than pack my bags up and say, I'll see you in 3 months' time, foolishly I decided to announce that I was going to do a daily vlog.
Okay. Good.
Going to create a video every day.
Yeah.
Because I've got a bit of outside space at home, and I've just picked up a new JCW Clubman. So I've just done a video every day around. I've done quite a few home mods to the Clubman and all kinds of things. But it makes you be more creative, I think.
Oh, it gives you a challenge.
You've got no choice.
Absolutely, because and you want like for me, I was like, as soon as they started to announce, I could see it like all the events were being cancelled, and I was like, well, that's my income. that's
exactly.
And I was like, okay, that's all the events going. including events that I'd already been pre-booked. Like I'd already, they were in the diary. Absolutely, we want you at this event. So it was just one of those things. I was like, okay, what can I do? And actually, I spoke to my brother, and he's got a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and he said if you create something in a half an hour window, you keep the concentration of that 5-year-old. But you've got to be at half an hour. So, and normally my paintings are 10 hours. 5, 10, whatever hours.
Wow.
So I was like, well, actually, if I can do something in half an hour and get better at it, I'll then, and I'm very lucky. A lot of my followers, but people on social media are car guys, and girls, and they are car people. So to be able to own an artwork of their own car, it's something special for them, and it kind of takes. What I found was it was taken away from what was going on outside in terms of the news and whatever. It was a bit of a good. It's a good news thing. Like it's engaging.
I couldn't agree more.
So,
I think people want an escape, don't they?
Yeah. So you've done some home mods to the Mini. You were saying.
Yeah. I mean, the videos that have got the nicest. I just taking my dogs for a walk and having a chat to camera while I'm walking around. They've gone down well. But then, as we're doing minis, I organised a mini car meet at my house.
Right.
Called Lockdown 2020, and we had 10 minis turn up.
Right.
Now this sounds very dodgy, but that's just my neighbours. So I live on a converted farm in a barn.
Right.
The farmhouse next door, one household, they have 5 minis. I've got 2, and my other next door neighbour's got 2, and another next door neighbour's got 1. So we all kind of parked up on our respective gardens that could all see each other, and had a car show.
Funny enough, I was speaking to a friend of mine called Andy, who's he's a bike. He does custom bikes. So he takes bikes, he customises them and does things. But him and his dad are Saab, passionate about Saab, and between them they've got 5. So he was saying yesterday they had like a mini car show, lined them all up, made them all look nice.
Yeah.
And it was like this mini Saab car show on their front lawn. So
it's great. I mean, as a YouTuber, it made for great clickbait. As my video title was driving to the biggest mini meet in the UK. I drove probably 30 feet from my garage to the bit where I parked my car outside my house.
Yeah, that's good. I like it. Well, I think that's the creativity of it. I think it's that fight or flight thing of like you think in a situation, right? How do I make this situation better and quickly?
Yep.
So
yeah, you've got to. So the bit you're on that GP or drawing that I do have on mine is the little red scoops underneath the bumper on the inside of the fog lamps.
I've
got those 2 scoops on my. That's about as close to a GP2 as my car gets. But having driven one and I've driven a GP1, they are mega things, really mega things. It's one of those you don't need to do any mods to them. They just drive beautifully out the factory. But if you do tune them, they are brilliant things.
Yeah, funny enough, that's exactly what Alex was saying. Alex Goyon earlier, and he was saying same thing. It's such a good car in terms of its setup and how it came as a factory fresh car. That actually to mod it is almost like a bit of a shame.
Especially they're such sought after things that if I think there's probably more modded GP1s around, but GP2s, if you start modding them, it kind of doesn't do their value any favours at all.
So kind of keeping it stock.
Yeah, got loads of my lot tuning in. Peak Performance Reviews, hello mate. Neil and his Mini, he's the guy with the GP2 with GP2 Hot as a number plate.
Cool. So they can all get involved. So what the Mini want to do is we do the GP3 later, and then the last one, they can if they send me a message, with their Mini, they go into a hat and we pick out that hat, of the car that's to be done. So I'm happy to create whatever.
Awesome. So, did you know I had a GP3 on order and I cancelled it?
I did. I saw this earlier. I did. Whilst I was going through, trying to find a picture of you.
So when the concept came out, the GP concept, which was Frankfurt about 3 years ago now, I think every Mini owner and Mini fan just went, "Oh my god, that's amazing! If they ever made that, I'm buying one." And then last year, I was looking at buying a new car, and I nearly bought an RS3, but in the end, Mini confirmed that they were going to do the GP3. So I went into my dealer and put £1,000 down and ordered one, and then kind of followed it all the way through. You see the spy shots be going around the ring, and you start to see them out of camo, and it was really exciting. And then right at the kind of when my dealer was basically saying, you've got to, I confirmed actually, and then they said, right, let's start talking about when you're going to pick it up. I changed my mind and I bought the JCW Clubman because Mini gave me a long-termer for 3 months.
And that's one we drove, isn't it?
I loved it. Yeah, exactly. That's what we drove to Brussels. Yeah. So, in fact, the car they gave me for 3 months was the JCW that me and Steph drove to Brussels, to Bruges. It was the actual car, and I loved it so much I went and bought one.
Because when we drove it, it is a properly good. I mean, it is properly quick. That car. It's
really fast, and I mean, I can't wait to start hearing. Well, I can't wait to drive GP3. If Georgina or Helen's on the call, as soon as lockdown's finished, I'm there. Because I know it's going to be an epic car because its predecessors are like properly sorted. So I know there was a lot of disappointments, probably, but everyone said, why isn't it a manual and why isn't it four-wheel drive? Because it's got so much power through the front wheels that, can it deal with that? And the simple answers are it wasn't a manual because the engine in it, which is the same engine that's in the JCW Clubman and in the M135i BMW, has never been mated to a manual gearbox. So they'd kind of have to homologate that from scratch, which would cost a fortune.
Yeah.
And the same thing about four-wheel drive. If they did a four-wheel drive version, then that would have to be a complete homologation, which would be so expensive for a limited-run car. Yeah, it wouldn't make financial sense.
When you're producing these guys, essentially they've got to sell. They've got to sell, and they are engineered for a purpose. So I
think they missed a bit of a trick. GP1 and GP2 are both limited to 2,000 units globally, and my gut feel thinks that they should have done the same thing with GP3, but they went for 3,000 units instead. But I know I've spoken to quite a few people from Mini that have driven GP3, and every one of them says it's absolutely unbelievable. And on a track, it's going to be better than the Clubman because it's going to be lighter and a bit more track focused. But they're great little cars, and I know quite a few people with GP2s. We should probably be talking GP2 rather than GP3 as you're drawing a GP2.
No, it's about Mini.
And they're just fantastic little things.
There's
maybe an argument that I think the GP1 and GP2s have got such favour because they're not quite as, in terms of styling, they're not quite as out there as the 3. I mean, the GP3 with its kind of, extended wheel arches and big wing on the back isn't for everybody.
I think you kind of get similar. I remember when the Focus RS came out, and there was you kind of look at the previous Gen RSs, and they're a bit particularly Gen 2, which was like a proper it looked like a stormtrooper, didn't it? Like kind of proper angry, particularly in white and green. That the RS in that just looked. It still looks awesome, but if you look at an RS Mark 1, it does. Unless you kind of really know it's an RS, it's kind of. So I think these cars go through this kind of. I think it's got to look muscular. It's got to look kind of like different than your stock cars. But like I say, I mean, mechanically, it's got. It's obviously.
I've just got Georgina's on. She just said maybe we can revisit the Lingotto roof next year. So the best press trip I've ever been on last year, myself and Tom Howard, the gentleman racer, And oh no, blimey, who's the other guy? Can't remember. It'll come to me. We drove 3 JCW hatches down to Turin to recreate the Italian job.
Oh, amazing.
And we drove around the Lingotto roof. John Quirk, thank you, Jim.
Oh, Quirky, yeah. Quirky is a good friend of mine.
Yeah, he's a top bloke actually, and we drove around the Lingotto. So yes, we could take a GP1, a GP2, and a GP3 down to Turin and drive around Lingotto.
I think though you definitely need like an artist there though. This time definitely.
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
definitely.
We'll need a wingman.
Yeah, I mean just to draw on site and just draw some of those those moments that might be captured only in.
Oh mate, it was I honestly didn't believe that we were going to get to drive round it, but yeah, it was a sensational thing.
So if people haven't been there or know what that is, so what is that place?
So if anyone's seen the original Italian Job, in fact, I'm not even going to say original Italian Job, the Italian Job, because it's not that remake with where they were doing it in America. But when they drive around the top of the car factory in Turin, so Fiat's car factory, they used to basically build the cars and start from the ground floor, and as the cars got built they'd go up floors until they got to the top floor when the car was finished, and the test drive was to drive around the roof, and there's like a banked circuit around the roof, and they just imagine it, drive around the roof, go, yes, okay, it's fine, and then just drive off. That's it, that's your drive test done. And it's still, you can't drive all the way around it anymore, but you can drive round the 2 straights and 1 bank, and the bank is so steep you can hardly stand up on it. It's phenomenal. But yeah, we did some stills, great stills pictures, and some really lovely videography up there, and it was just amazing. And then when we came down, because it was all to do with the anniversary of the film being made.
Yeah.
We actually met up with the guy who drove the red Mini in the Italian Job. He was the stunt driver that drove the red Mini.
Well, this links quite nicely because for me and Taz got married last year, and for our wedding cars to transport our guests, we had bob-on replicas of the Italian Job, the Minis from the Italian Job.
Oh, excellent. So the day before we were there, they had the original classic Minis going around the roof, and there were 3 there. I wonder if it was the same cars.
But he does use them for filming. So the car, did you go to Goodwood last year, the revival last year?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. The minis they were using to replicate the Italian Job.
Oh, in the Earl's Court, yeah.
In Earl's Court were the minis that we had for our wedding.
Oh wow.
So owned by a guy in Telford, randomly enough.
Right. Okay.
And he's a proper mini racer as well. So he races minis. And apparently he says he really annoys his competitors because his preparation for a race is literally get it out the garage and go to the track. He doesn't do any kind of tweaks to his cars. He literally takes it to track and wins. And like his competitors are like they go, how does he do it? Like he don't know. The cars are just sorted. I'll just race them.
I think when you drive, as I said at the beginning, I drove a Hopkirk replica Cooper S. There's only 4 in the world. Paddy Hopkirk's got one of them, and one's in a museum, and then the other 2 are still used. And they are amazing little things, but they've just got. I think all minis have character, but the classic minis and the souped-up ones just have that extra level of feel. And what I love about things like GP2 and my car and stuff is the steering so direct and lively, and if you get someone to drive it who's never driven a Mini before, it normally freaks them out a bit because their cars kind of follow the road a lot, and you really have to hang on to them. But that's the character of them. I am watching in marvel at you doing that. What I'm more impressed with is where all the different pens and stuff you've got in front of you. You know which one's the which.
For me, it's exactly how I have when I'm painting. I have all my paints in front of me, and the canvas here, and I have an image that I'm looking at. So it's pretty much like how I paint almost is this way. It's just kind of on a much smaller scale.
How long have you been painting? Have you always painted since you were a kid?
I've been doing PopBangColour's been going for 14 years. I've been painting with cars for 14 years. But I'm trained as an artist, and I've also got an illustration training as well. So I've always been able to draw. It's just that isn't what normally kind of people see. Is they see the painting, and so I've always drawn this way, and I always produce artwork pretty quickly as well. So it's always kind of I do stuff to a scale. So I've got a clock here in front of me so that I can see how long I've been drawing for about 30 minutes, 35, 34 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's just having that training to go, right, I'm going to do it this time. And also, because I create live at shows, that people watching what I do has always been a thing anyway. So it doesn't like kind of scare, I want to say scare me. It's just like I'm just used to having people watch what I create, really.
So one of the things I noticed about when you watch someone who can really draw well is you have a kind of freedom of movement of the pen, and almost like you're not worried about making a mistake. Whereas when I draw something, I'm so worried about a line being out of place or cocking it up that it kind of stunts your creativity.
Yeah, I think that the thing is with a continuous line, by going right from the beginning, this is what I'm committing to. This is like, these are the apps, like, this is what it's going to be. However, if I think the lights are going to be at I haven't practiced this before. This is the first time I've drawn a mini GP.
It's just incredible.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at the early ones compared to what I do now, I mean, it looks like a different artwork. But the early ones had to happen for the later ones to be like this. And what we're doing is all of these are going to go into a book. So there's going to be a book produced, which is on Crowdfunder now, which is called Continuous Wheels. So there's going to be 300 artworks in that book. So you'll be able to buy a book that feature all the artworks that have been created. And each will have a story behind it. So this will be created whilst talking to you, so it'll link back to your channel. And then they'll be available to buy as originals. And then also there'll be prints of them, and these will feature on like merchandise and whatnot eventually as well. So it's very different to what I normally create, but the style is kind of similar in many ways.
Does you, as well as doing your shows and stuff, do you do commissions and things?
Yeah. So I mean, I've been doing a lot of these to commission. So literally, a lot of these drawings are done to So you can. People have been saying,
I will be commissioning one the second this finishes, by the way, because they look fantastic.
So and they're what I try and do is I get when they're being done, I get people to watch it online. And it's only yesterday they actually found out when the driver got involved. It was like this whole conversation to type it up is awkward. To go right, actually we can talk like a WhatsApp conversation, and I can find out about what you do and it actually makes it kind of makes the artwork for me. It kind of, for half an hour, 40 minutes, I get to find out about people, what they do, and other people can listen in. And I think that's quite, and it might be something that continues on post-lockdown. I might do it once a week and go, actually, this is something that could become something. As
I'm certainly finding that stuff I've done because of lockdown I've really enjoyed doing. I am going to carry on doing, and some of the things you never think they'd be ever successful or popular, but because you have to do them because we've got no choice, you suddenly find out that actually people really like it. So so it was. It was as though it wasn't until the driver yesterday. I got Jake Hill who races in touring car. So I managed to get hold of him, and he kind of logged in whilst he was having a barbecue at home. Excellent.
And then I got hold of his dad, who does some of his sponsor stuff and is involved with F1. And so for me, I always remember I was at Goodwood once, and there was a chappie who was a police officer, and so he was there because he was part of the company I was with. And I was painting a McLaren P1 GTR, but actually the whole thing I remember is the conversation about him because I was finding out about his job and I found it fascinating. I just like having noise, conversation, and creating something at the same time. Is kind of, I think that's where I think it's from being at circuits and there's noise going on, there's races going on, there's stuff going on all the time, not just me painting type of thing.
Oh, it's really cool.
So,
but YouTube's been a funny one, really. It kind of, you fall into these things. And the ultimate thing to finish off the story, really, is then last summer I got involved in making a TV show. So we finished, we had to finish early because of lockdown, but so that hits the screens in June. So that's going to be kind of interesting to see the reaction to that when people start watching it.
Is that what channel? What can you say? What channel that's on yet, or is that?
It's going to be on Quest.
Okay.
It's called Vintage Voltage. So we basically take classic cars and electrify them and turn them into electric cars.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's working with a garage in mid Wales called Electrifying Classics. And the cars in the series of the everything from, I can't say what car, I suppose I can now because it's being shown in the States, but everything from a Carman Ghia to a Land Rover Defender 110.
Oh, amazing.
But that was to be involved in that was a brilliant project. So, and that kind of dropped out of YouTube, and also I know the guy who runs it. We were at university together, so I can't wait for people to see that.
So that'll be on Quest.
Say again?
So that'll be on Quest at some point.
It's on Quest it starts on the 24th of June.
Oh, cool. Excellent.
And there's in the States, it's already showing on Motor Trend. They're probably on episode 5 by now. There's 10 episodes.
And Motor Trend's like the biggest kind of American channel. That's where all the car stuff goes out on, isn't it?
Yeah, it was bought by Discovery. So Discovery in the US, that's their kind of car channel, and Discovery in the UK, it's Quest. So, and then ITV are going to distribute it globally. So hopefully it'll be on in other countries too.
Oh, good. I will definitely keep an eye out for that. So, I'm just getting the last final details. And I'm just going to.
It's all the little detail. I love you've got that bonnet scoop brilliantly.
Yeah, no, it's turned out all right. Yeah.
Thing, I'm pretty sure the difference between this and a GP1 is the bonnet scoop on a GP1 is real and the bonnet scoop on that is fake.
Is that? Yeah, because on the third gen, it hasn't got the bonnet scoop, has it? I don't think it has.
If it has, it's fake. You can buy an aftermarket kit to open it up, but.
I imagine the likes of Lowen are already looking at what type of modifications they can. They are.
I think they're probably big. When I was going to have mine, they were like, "You've got to bring yours up as soon as you got it." I was like, "Yeah, I will." I'm sure somebody will take one to them. I'm not so sure. It's got 306 brake going through the front wheels. I'm not so sure it needs any more power.
Yeah, I think power isn't an issue with it, is it? It's kind of those front tyres are going to absolutely be worked to their life onto the road, really. So But so I'll spin it around very, very shortly. I'm just doing the fluffy bits, like the kind of just.
It's always it's the last bits that make it look good.
Yeah. So no pressure. No pressure. But,
it looks, mate, I'm kind of tilting my head a bit to kind of. It looks wicked.
I'll spin it around a little bit, so you'll be that. It'll be like, here's what it was. But I really appreciate you getting involved on short notice. It was just.
So one of my followers on there, Frosty 851. So I'm going to be doing some work this year with Future Terrain, which is a charity that works with service personnel to kind of help them over injuries and
cool.
other kind of issues through the power of motorsport. And he's saying you're going to have to draw one of their rally cars.
I've done over the last few years. There might be. I've done work with like Mission Motorsport with Jim Cameron.
Yeah.
He's a good mate of mine. Great support. So anything kind of military, kind of that kind of support and helping guys.
Yeah, I think it's super. I mean, I'm gutted really. I haven't announced it on the channel because we were due to have done 2 things already by now, but lockdown killed it off basically. So it's all been put back till later on in the year. But it's going to be a mega project to be involved in.
Oh,
so any of my followers, that is a bit of an exclusive of some mega content that's coming later. That's going to involve ice driving and off-roading and rallying and all kinds of things.
That's awesome.
All with some all the ex-forces guys.
That's awesome. Right, I'm just doing a last bit of thing on the top there, just because the thing with Instagram, you can be live for an hour and it just cuts it off. So it's very brutal like that. It's like, right, you can't have it anymore. That's it. You done.
It gives you a deadline, no way.
It does, yeah. It makes sure I don't waffle on. My wife has been like, you can't waffle on now. You just get on with it. Yeah, just crack on. None of this. I quite like it when I'm sorting my pens.
What I love about your drawings, though, is they have so much character and life to them. They almost look like they're moving, even though they're static drawings.
That's what I aim for in both the drawings and in my paintings as well. Is that kind of weirdly I call it like static movement, but it's kind of it looks like they're going somewhere. So 219, there we are. So as I say, there's the aim is 300. So if any of you, or your followers want to get involved, then submit your car. Mini we're gonna draw one out of the hats later. So there'll be one Mini done for a follower of the brand and involved with the brand. So get involved. And we're going to classic Mini next. We've got what would you like to see? Would you like to see electric Mini? Would you like to see Paul Smith Mini with the stripes?
Oh mate, that's a brilliant car. I've seen that.
Or would you like to see Mr. Bean Mini? And the Mini Bean has got Mr. Bean on it on top of the car.
Is that a Goodwood?
Yeah, Goodwood. It was a couple of years ago. Yeah.
JPG has asked, or 0616 has asked, how do you submit a car? Do you just send it direct
to me? So submit it via. Send it to Mini UK on Instagram. Send it to PopBangColour. Put it in your story. Tag us both on that story. That's the best way of doing it, so we both see it. So PopBangColour, all one word, spelled the British way. Mini UK, and then you can. We'll both see it, and then we'll select a car to be done later, which will be the evening session, which will be kind of 9:30ish, probably 9:30.
You're going to be knackered by the end of this.
Yeah, I'm doing up to 6, between 6 and 8 a day. So yeah. I'm probably busier than I ever have been, to be honest. I'll go back to my normal job and be like, oh, this is really easy. I have to. Yeah.
I know, mate. I've done that, so I'm daily vlogging now. I've done a month of it, so I've made 34 videos in the last month.
That's good work.
And I tell you what, hats off to any channel that daily vlogs because it's hard work.
But fair play to you for doing that in lockdown situations. Yeah,
as an automotive blogger.
Yeah, you'll find it easy when you're back to normal. Like you'll be like, oh, I can do anything now.
Just 3 films a week. This is easy. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you very much again for getting involved.
Do you ever get to the point where you think, stop, don't do any more?
That is the point. There it is.
That is awesome.
So, hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for sharing it on your channel and getting your guys involved and guys and girls involved.
Yeah, I've been watching them all logging on. I've had quite a few, so.